Hi friends, Renee Keys here with Carolina Creative. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here with card making ideas for you. This week I got a new stamp set. This is new to me. It's called Happy Place. And I just started playing with this, but I think I figured out a way to get some cool multicolors on this Happy stamp, which has a whole scene in the background. So I'm going to play today with using that stamp. I'm starting with an Azure Afternoon card base, and I have just run a piece of two-tone cardstock through my cutting and embossing machine using the So Swirly embossing folder. So you probably know where I'm going to go with this. I'm going to take out my paper, which now has this beautiful texture on it. And I'm going to flip my camera down to my workspace, and you're going to see me go to town sanding on this. So I've got my piece of sandpaper here, and I want to reveal some of the white swirls. It's going to look like, waves and water. And so you don't have to be real particular with getting every single, line and groove sanded. I think it's just kind of cool to give it this little bit of a distressed look. So I'm going to go up and around. I'm kind of going with the grain of these swirls and giving this just a little added texture. And you know what? I'm going to cover the middle. So I'm not going to waste my time trying to do those lines in the middle. I'm really focusing on the edges because that's what you're going to be able to see. Oop, yep, I took some of that off. And that's okay. I mean, I'm after that distressed look, so I might do some more of that intentionally. I'm a little heavy on the edge here if I can. Whoa, didn't mean to go that heavy. I'll glue that back down. And yes, as you're seeing, the two-tone cardstock is two different colors, and it has that white core. So since I pulled up that edge, I'm going to go ahead and put a drop or two, and I had a feeling this was going to be a problem today. I'm just going to switch. I had it upside down, and I was shaking it before I even started the video, so I thought that was going to help. All right, let's do that. Yep, you'll never know, but I will not put any sandpaper on that edge again. So the question is, do I have just enough reveals? I'm close. A little bit more over here maybe, because that's going to show. And it's this pointy edge I think that's grabbing, so I will just be a little more careful with that in the future. But I think I'm good. I think I've got enough swirls to make the point. So you get the idea of how I'm going to layer this. And now I've got a piece of pumpkin pie and a piece of white cardstock. And my white cardstock is 4 by 3 1/4, and then the pumpkin pie is then 4 1/4 by 3 1/2. And so I'm going to stamp on here. I'm about to sneeze. Excuse me. I'm going to stamp on here and use some fun colors. I've got 4 different colors out. We'll see where this goes. So I am going to, I think I'm going to start with the light colors first. I've done this a couple different ways, and I'll show you another one I did as I've been experimenting with this technique. But I stamped the whole thing in yellow first and then added color. And then, of course, what happened was when I put the blue on the water on top of yellow, I got green. And it still looked really cool, so it really wasn't a problem, but that wasn't quite the effect I was after. So I'm going to add some yellow in the middle here. I'm going to keep this out in case I decide to add more. And then I've got pumpkin pie to match, so I'm just going to put some pumpkin pie on the edges. And then what I wanted to do, well, I might go a little further with that. I might go just a little further. I wanted green to kind of fill in the palm trees, so the upper portion of those sides. So here we go. And you can see where you've done this because it's a little shiny. You can see that it's wet. So you can see where you've put this. All right. And now I want the Azure Afternoon that's going to match the card base to the water. So I'm just doing this on the bottom. And this is giving a little texture too. So there's two ways we're getting texture. It's in the stamp, but some of it is actually coming from these daubers too. All right, enough with that. Let me line this up. And I did make this piece of cardstock just the right size. So I'm going to do this and give it a 1, 2, 3 seconds to transfer the ink. I could have huffed on there. Nope, that worked just fine. And so now I have this in mind for somebody special. I'm using the words happy place. And so I think, which color should I use? Let's look at this again. I could stick with the blue, and I think I will. The orange, I like the orange pop, but I don't want to go too overboard with the orange. So let me stick with the blue. Happy place. Like that. And what a cool font. I just think that's really, really cool. So now what I think I may do is, if I can very gently put just a little, I want to add just a little more yellow. It's kind of sunrise or a sunset kind of thing. So I'm just putting it inside the stamped letters. And you can see how very careful I was being. But that did make the yellow pop. And so now because it's going to go on the orange, I'm just adding a little more color on the edges here, gently. And that, I think, is going to do it. So let me, oh, I have to do the inside. Because this is going to be a thank you, we always get invited to our friend's beach house. And I know it's their happy place. So this is actually going to be a thank you for them. But you get the idea. Happy birthday, happy retirement. There's lots of different ways to use this stamp set. Happy for you, happy times. I mean, I almost used that. Okay, so I'm going to start assembling. I'm leaving all my inks out. You know, that's a bad idea. Something's going to land in the ink. So let me close these up. I just had another thought. I'm going to put a little blue edging on my inside. I like, it gives it kind of that distressed look. Which I always think is fun. So, just a little bit. Okay, now I can close that up. Go crazy with the color, why not? All right, so I will use my liquid glue and put some dots on the inside panel. I'm going to pick it up. There we go. And now there's lots of room for me to write a message in here. Like that. And now I want to put I'm using the lighter side. I really wanted the azure and the blue in this to pop, so I went with the softer color of blue. So I'm going to gently use my Stampin' Seal, because again, now that I've, sanded on the front, it's a little thinner, and with that distress, I don't want to rip it. And I think that should do it. So let's put this on here. And I have another decision to make. I'm going to go ahead and mount these pieces together. And then I'm going to have to decide. I think I have an idea. I pulled it out thinking it was a good color. And so I'm going to do some mixing and matching. I have some, here we go, blue and white baker's twine. Unfortunately, it is not a Stampin' Up! Product, but a couple of years ago, I needed the blue and it's a great turquoise. So it goes right with all these colors. So what I'm thinking is I just want to wrap this. And I have to decide, do I want it on the top or in the middle? I mean, on the bottom or in the middle? Maybe at the bottom. I'm going to wrap it twice and give myself some space, some tails to tie here. So you can see what a great color combination this is going to make. Yeah, I think at the bottom, under all the stamping. I could have stamped the word place a little higher if I had remembered I wanted to do this. Yeah, best laid plans. I think that's too long to tail. Let's put that in the trash. So I may not center that. I may slide this over just a smidge. Yep, I'm kind of liking it. I didn't want to put, I was thinking I didn't want gems on here. I didn't want a lot of bling. So this is just kind of the effect. Yeah, I'm going for it. So now do I angle it or keep it? Yeah, I'm thinking I put this on an angle. Just a little bit, just to make it fun. Okay, and again, because it's going on texture, I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal, and I'm going to put a little bit back here to make sure that this doesn't slide around too much. I mean, I don't mind it moving, but I just don't want it going crazy. And then put this on a slight angle. I'm going to have the corners touching the light blue edges, like that. Okay. And I could, it doesn't need a lot, and I don't want to pull ink colors. So I'm just going to put a little bit of shimmer here. And I definitely don't want to pull, like I said, pull the ink colors. So there's my palm trees. I'm going to give a little definition to those palm trees. Cool. And that way, you know, when the card gets picked up, you do see the shimmer. So there's my card today, and I'll show you another one I did. I'm using this new Happy Place stamp set. What's new to me? It came out in the catalog back in, what, May? So I have a piece of embossed two-tone cardstock to give a little texture to the card. And then I stamped with my daubers to give different colors. And I just used the thank you from the With You in Mind. Now, when I was playing with this technique, here's the one. I grabbed two. Here's the one I was telling you about that I stamped it in yellow first. And then when I added blue for the water, I got kind of green. But I made this happy birthday. And then I went looking. Everybody's got seashell stamps, right? You always keep a set of seashell stamps. So I pulled out some old seashell stamps and just kind of splattered those. Some of them very light colors, so they're kind of in the background. And then put a little bow on there and put best wishes in there with a seashell on the inside. So two very different cards, Happy Place, Happy Birthday. But I'm having fun, you know, inking this up. And I think it would be really cool in a solid color too. I still may need to do that. But I'm having fun playing with the multiple colors and the daubers. So if you like the projects and the products you're seeing here, you can find me at Carolina Creative or hashtag Carolina Creative. I'm also on the Stampin' Up! Network. It's Renee Keese at Stampin'Up.net. Thanks for joining me today, and stay tuned for the next video. I appreciate you.